AromaticChat, the podcast that introduces you to registered, clinical, and certified aromatherapists around the world. Every other week, my Mima sits down with a different aromatherapist to learn about their aromatic journey and how they use the plants that God has given us in their lives and their businesses. Aromatic Chat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching, and your host is my Mima, Melissa. She is a master transformational coach and a registered aromatherapist.
Hey friends, welcome to podcast episode number 85, Aromatic Chat with Ayrin Estis of the Urban Medicine Woman. Ayrin has an excruciatingly beautiful story to share about how Urban Medicine Woman came to her. And I'm so thankful that you are here to hear it. So let's get started. Ayrin, I'm so glad that you said yes to coming on to the podcast. We had connected earlier this year at the Alliance of International Aromatherapists virtual conference, where I was able to interview you about your business, just basically for the conference goers. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get her onto the podcast. She's amazing. You've got wonderful things happening all around you. And I'm just so glad you're here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm a big fan of what you do too, so it's a great match. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. I love collaboration. I love when things come together just organically, right? It's not forced. I didn't, we weren't like, oh my gosh, let's got to be at this time on this day, just kind of natural. I love it like that. The first thing I always love to get from my guests is just their story. How did you end up at Urban Medicine Woman doing what you're doing in the aromatherapy field?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you my real story. I don't put it, I can say I worked for 20 years with essential oils, and I worked in the corporate world for quite some time. And doing, once that, the corporate world, I went into scent branding and private label, and I got a lot of people that basically a natural perfumist, they would send me a blend and I would match it. And then about 6 years ago, I lost everything. I lost my husband to cancer. I lost just my whole support system because it happened so fast. And I was running on the beach one day. I just fell in the sand and I just yelled, I don't know how to do this, because I had a 12-year-old son at the time and I was scared to death. And my grandmother, we can't figure out how much Native American she is. She's from Oklahoma. She's Cherokee. She yelled at me. She's not alive. And I never really thought we were that close. She yelled at me saying, "You're a medicine woman, urban medicine woman." And I took that in, and I started this journey of blending for myself through some pretty intense cycles of that loss and leaving and finding a new life. And so my son and I decided to just sell everything and move to the desert and start over. So Urban Medicine Woman came in that space of just renewal and connecting to the oils in a place that was very personal. Versus in the beginning, it was like, I'm going to get orange to clean the floors because my baby's on the floor, or I'm going to treat, a cold with these oils. This got personal. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with these stress or depression or love? How do you begin to rebuild your sensory being? And that was the beginning of Medicine Woman. And I think all of it was still one-on-one with people. And then I did an immunity blend around COVID, and I got some interest from a distributor to blend that for me. And then all of my blends that I had done for myself became part of my company. When you tell people that your grandmother screamed from the sky at you and you saw her hands and she said, "You're a medicine woman," you get different responses, because I've always been super intuitive, and that's how I work until I became commercial. I feel like just talking to you, if you tell me what's that story that's swirling around and we can speak about it, I can find the oils that I hear from you, and then I can match. So that it's a little different.
That's amazing. Well, I think we're in the right space today because everything is made up of energy, and energy doesn't just poof disappear because the physical body disappears. That energy exists forever. All it can do is transfer to another place, transfer to another realm. It doesn't disappear. And that may sound woo-woo to some people listening.
No, that's funny because then you asked me what my favorite quote would be at the end. That's Einstein, everything is energy. Create the reality that you wish, and the universe matches it. I really believe that.
So let's just go ahead and do that right now. Talk a little bit more about your favorite quote.
Everything is a reflection of you energetically. So if someone comes to me in the space of sadness, what is that behind? Why did you create that? What is that story? And some people can't handle that. Most people are open because they so much want to have a solution. And aromatherapy is amazing because it is an energy. You connect to your senses. You come to your senses. You get out of your head. And so then you're on the energy of your body. And I believe, the other quote I would say is, Socrates said, you have all the answers to everything inside of you. You just have to answer. You just have to ask questions to yourself. So I am a aromatherapist. Now I switched to commercial, but all my blends are from that place of just talking to myself or talking to clients. Like, tell me what is that anxiety about? What is your cold about? What is in your chest? I can give you a blend to open up your chest and breathe. And once we get to that place of clearing that, then what's sitting there? Because that's the story of your respiratory problem.
Right.
We can treat the symptoms. We can keep treating the symptoms, but if we treat the symptoms and look underneath that to me is where I fall.
I love that. Oh my gosh, Ayrin, because I'm all about the root cause as well. And just like you said, every emotion that we experience has its own story. I might have experienced sadness yesterday and it had its own story. I may experience sadness today and it has its own story. Every emotion has its own story, and every illness that we experience, every dis-ease that we experience in our body has its own story as well.
Yeah, and I'll take it another step that no matter what it is, it's to bring you to a higher space in your life. It's all a gift. And so people used to say, oh my God, you lost your husband or this. It was the biggest gift in my life. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt once in a while or it didn't hurt. But all of a sudden, Ayrin had to look at Ayrin. And that was the most powerful moment of my life. And it changed things in a really beautiful way. Once I got past the initial, hit, I believe every obstacle, everything that happens to you is a gift. And a lot of people, it's not easy, but it offers you something. Let's just say that.
I actually just wrote about that this morning for Instagram. It's like, it's all about perspective, right? It's about my perspective and what I believe. And I believe that the universe is out to get me, or do I believe that the universe is for me?
Yeah.
It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And it doesn't mean that I don't experience, like you said, it doesn't mean I don't experience the initial hit and feel emotions around that.
Yeah.
But my belief shifts it and makes it so that I can see the good behind it. I can see the purpose behind it. I can see what I may become through it.
It's powerful medicine. You are powerful medicine. And it's so easy in our culture, or at least I'll start, I always try to speak from, this is my experience. I grew up in, it's so easy to get stuck in the victim story. And, my family loves it. We gather around funerals and we gather around that pulls us together. We bond in trauma. And I think there's definitely a time for that, but then it moves on and we grow through that. It's not a t-shirt like I'm this, I'm a widow, or I have this problem. At some point that you put it I don't, it's not like you put it away, but it's not in the center. It doesn't run your life.
And that's a choice to make
And
that
it's
shift.
definitely, it's
Yeah.
definitely a choice.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not like you just put it aside. It's not like you forget about it, but we shift. Yeah.
Like letting go and surfing,
Life is in constant motion. And like you said, we have to figure out how to balance the
Yeah.
motion that's happening all around us all the time. Okay. You keep saying commercial, commercial, commercial. So are you no longer doing one-on-one consults, or is it
Oh,
mostly the
I do
business of
that,
urban medicine?
definitely. I do that. But it's a new thing for me to get into the commercial world. And I finally am to the place where if I have a gift and I can offer that, and it doesn't matter if it's in, Walmart, or if it's on Amazon, or if it's in, some boutique spot in New York City. I'm offering you, I believe, a solution your solution. And so I took my blends. Initially, I only had 9, and I work closely with someone who helps me blend on a larger level. And that was hard for me too, to take that blend, that this is my blend I did for anxiety. So now I'm giving this formula to someone I've worked with already for 15 years, and he is going to make that in bulk. And so that I had to get my head around that. But now I feel like when I watch the responses of people to different blends, I'm so excited that it's there.
Well, it's hard to
But
take something that's so personal, right? Because these
yeah, it
blends
is.
obviously were very personal for you, and just
Super
say,
personal.
well, let's give them to the world, because I don't know, when it's personal, you just want to keep it close, right?
Yeah, you want to keep it close, but you also don't want to personalize it for people. So for instance, I have Feminine Balance is one of my favorite. Those are the oils I use for my particular, just to sit in a transition. And for my transition is my story, but your transition could be menopause. Your transition could be loss. Your transition could be a variety of different things. But I don't need my story in there. It's just transition is transition. And if I have another heart blend, it could be self-love, or just being open to love, or it could just be balancing my heart, balancing that energy.
Yeah.
So it is my story, but it has to be your story. It has to be, you connect to those essential oils, or you connect to I'm all about scent too. Like, I love the way they smell. So that part, there's a bit of perfume. Like, people want to go get perfume because it takes us into a real place of joy. And I think you can do both. I think you can go to that place of joy, and it can also be medicinal. So I love the way it smells. And as a, side, as a, what do they call that? As, these are the side effects of this drug or this medicine, is it makes you feel really good. There's no negative things. So it's
Isn't
the
that
two
lovely?
together.
Isn't that
Yeah.
lovely? There's no negative
And
side
maybe it
effects.
doesn't, yeah, maybe it doesn't do anything except give you a choice to be joyous and light. That's huge medicine to me. I don't hear it enough. Like, aromatherapy is all about the scent. It's all about getting you out of your head and connecting to your senses, which I don't think there's any stronger medicine. I don't. You're connecting to what you need. I can tell you, oh, take this for a cold, or you can do this, but ultimately it's you connecting to those pieces. So I kind of
I would love for you to just talk briefly about connecting with the blend, because I'm looking behind you and I see all the lovely labels and bottles and everything. But like, if I were to purchase something from the Urban Medicine Woman, and I read the bottle and I go, oh, that sounds like what I need, and I take it home, then what?
it's pretty simple. I think the first step in all of my blends it's a discernment, take in that sense. And I've named it breathe. I blended that to deepen your breath. So you can put that on your wrist, you can put it behind your behind your ears, and it's about breathing. But then breath is everything. Like, once we've I believe breath, if you change your breath, you change your reality. So calm breath is a calm life. And, breath that's tight is a tight life. You come to the table with, maybe I want to make my house smell good for the holidays. Okay. You're bringing joy into your house. Maybe I want to have a blend that treats my respiratory issues. Breathe is great. My breathe was because I had panic attacks after I went through my little tsunami. I had anxiety attacks. So I did breath because it deepened my breath. So the first step is to just connect to the scents. Maybe you love geranium, maybe you love rose. Find a blend that has that in there. Or you could connect to the intention of that blend, which is the name of the blend. What does that name mean to you? There's just so many different ways. I can't say, okay, now you get my product, get a diffuser and put 3 drops in there. And, I'll say the diffuser, but that's okay too. Like I said, just some people for the holidays will be like, what should I diffuse? Cinnamon, clove, and spruce. And yeah, you could, or orange and cinnamon. If that's just about bringing the holiday joy in, that's great. Or maybe you want to do something treating your digestion. Holidays are all about stories and taking in all those, stresses of the holidays and pleasing everybody or dealing with relatives. Maybe you want to do a blend about digestion, or I have a sleep blend. The sleep is the other thing I feel is so important. If you sleep is medicine. Like if you are not sleeping well, it's a huge imbalance. It can create a lot of imbalances in your life.
Beautiful. So what I really hear you saying is it's really intuition. Connect with
Yeah.
the oil in the way that works the best for you and what you're dealing with and going through.
Yeah, and just start really simple, like orange, like a simple orange. Bring that into your life. I think that the first step, and it's hard in the culture that we live in. I don't want to say it's hard. It's difficult for me because everything is super visual and everything is fast. How do I spell that word? Boom. I don't need to even look behind my shoulder and backing up my car. Like I don't feel into anything. So I think now aromatherapy is so important than it ever was before because we're not in our sensory body. And if anything I could offer to you is try an essential oil. Just jump in and try anyone. Just pick one and start with that. And then maybe orange resonates with you. Then take that. What are the medicinal properties of that? Or let's find a blend with orange. And then it's a process, I think.
You are speaking my language. I just want you to know that we are
Good.
woo. Okay. Because as a coach, like my whole thing is about helping women in their 40s to 60s to reconnect with their bodies and their mind and their spirit. And I was talking with someone the other day, this used to be called the midlife crisis for men, right? This age period. We called it midlife crisis for men. We called it emotional breakdown for women, right? I don't know why we delineated them differently, but really it's that midlife crisis age because I believe we were all brought into the world to bring a gift, to bring a specific gift to the world. You figured out what yours is, the urban medicine woman. That's awesome. But so many of us, especially women, we spend our whole lives doing for others and we forget who we are. And then we get to this age where there's something that happens and it's just this friction. Like I can't keep going the way I've been going. Something's got to change. And the thing that has to change is we've got to get back in touch with who we were designed to be to begin with. And I believe the first part of that process is reconnecting with our bodies, and using essential oils is a beautiful way to do that. Oh my gosh, Ayrin, you are totally speaking my language.
Yeah, I feel like also there's an ending to a season of your life. And so the next chapter is exciting. When you were a kid, it's like, oh, I'm 13, or, no one ever is about to say I'm 50. Wow. Okay. My child is fine. And he's in his heart and he's living the life that he always wanted. I don't have to worry about him right now. I can still be his mom. Or my business is doing really well. I don't have to stress about that. So there's a totally new beginning, much like when you were a kid, but we don't look at it. I can't say we don't do that. I never looked at it like that. I was like 50. Good God, I should have my shit together at 50. Like, but those are positive things. Like just reconnecting, and it's not going to look like anything else. This is a new space, so let's breathe into that and see what comes to us. Much like a child with an expectation of this is going to be really joyous.
And again, it comes back to the perspective, right? Because like you said, I can turn 50, 60, 70 and go, oh, geez, I'm 50 or 60 or 70.
Yeah.
Or I can turn 50, 60, 70 and realize, okay, that chapter's closing. Here's the new one. What am I going to write for this next chapter, this next decade? How am I going to shift? What's going to change? And it does. And I think so many of us are trained to think of the negative, right? But as aromatherapists, I feel like it's kind of one of our things. We're like, look at the good, look at the positive. And I think some of it is because of the essential oils, right? We, like you said, there's no negative side effects.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I use the analogy when you walk into a kitchen and somebody's making something that you love, and whoa, that everything else dissolves, and you're right into that sense. I just think there's just such medicine in that space. It's and it's simple. Like it doesn't have to be complicated. Let's just say that.
Right.
Just start with that being within yourself.
And I love that about essential oils, right? They don't have to be complicated either. Just like you're saying, pick one that you love. Yeah. Sit with it.
I love that part. I love to watch different people. There's oils I don't really care for. I don't care for the scents. And then I'll find somebody like, wow, it's really beautiful to see the diversity and how you've gone into that, or you don't like that blend. The other thing I was going to mention though, that I like about essential oils, it's like an anointment. Like I'm anointing my body. I have an intention. I have a specific intention, and I think that's beautiful. My son, when he was little, he would have nightmares. So I'd take spikenard and I'm like, give me your feet. And I would drip a few like that intention. Now I'm creating a story. I'm going to have a really beautiful sleep and I'm going to have good dreams and I'm doing the physical. Then I would have him do it on his feet. Like you're in charge of creating this. And I think it's been throughout history, that anointment. And that I think is really beautiful. Or if I feel brain fog, I have one mental clarity, I'll just put it on the top of my head. And now the intention, I'm touching my head, is far greater. I had this medicine man once tell me, like, pharmaceuticals or medicine is not bad. What's bad is we have no connection with our body. We are not taking something and, okay, I'm going to take this to lower my blood pressure. I'd like to be, I wouldn't like to be, but most people demonize medicine, and I don't do that. Like, I feel that the sad part is you don't understand what you're doing. You don't have that discernment about, I'm putting this medicine in my body for this specific reason. It's just someone told you to do that, but they can give you this option that you sit with that and you take on if you need to do a medicine. So there's all kinds of ways, but I chose essential oils.
So what are some of your other hobbies or loves that you have or passions outside of essential oils?
I'm a big swimmer. I'm in this master swim group, I just started in the last 2 years. It's another thing I brought into my life. I like to swim. I'm a painter. I like to make graphic novels, like putting words and paints together. And that's my kind of therapy as well. So those two things I would say are my go-to. I play the piano. The two would be swimming and making graphic novels. So
that is so cool. What kind of graphic novels do you make? I'm
really inspired by Grimm's fairy tales. So they're kind of like fairy tales, but they teach you something. Their message is about going within yourself
So do you make the graphic novels just for yourself, or are they for other people?
Everything is for myself. It's pretty personal. It's therapy for me. I like visuals. I like senses. So it's my way of dealing with things.
So we have another connection. I'm also youngest and was also very invisible. So I just think that's so interesting. And so for anybody else listening, if you are the youngest child and you feel invisible, I mean, really, I'm not going to try to downplay it and say you're just like every other youngest child, but it is a common thing for youngest children to feel completely overlooked and ignored. Yeah.
And then the positive thing is it causes, I mean, I didn't see it when I was younger, but you really have to go within yourself and find your own. And we didn't have cell phones or computers, so it was like crayons and piece of paper, and just find your own mythology, how you see the world, how you're gonna deal with it.
That's so cool, Ayrin.
Yeah.
So I am just really enjoying our conversation. I feel like we are kindred spirits. This is awesome. But I'm curious, like at this point, who is inspiring to you?
I have to say that my biggest inspiration in my life is my child. My son is a ballet dancer, and he started at 14, and he was trying to find a language for himself, dealing with the same kind of the same tsunami I did, and I wasn't as much help as I don't know what it's like to be 12. So he found ballet. He went to a school and started dancing with all like 6-year-old girls. In 2 years, he became pre-professional. And 4 years, I just dropped him off in Utah last weekend to study with a company there. What inspires me is that he loves what he's doing so much. And when I watch him, he's so in his body completely. And that inspires me so much to live my life that way. I think I'm not there yet. And to have that sense of like, it doesn't have to be this way. He'll say, well, I just want to master this, but I don't know. Maybe I'll go into modern dance. Maybe I'll do this, but it's right this moment I want to do this. He's my inspiration.
That is amazing. And our children do that for us, don't they? When they follow their passion, it like ignites passion inside you. It's just.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not like I'm not a dancer. I'm not coordinated. So I don't know where that came from, but I know it's his. And so it's really fun. I can't say, oh, yeah, when I was doing that, I have no reference for this. This is all you. And I'm excited to watch your journey. So that's my biggest sentiment. But I have like had a lot of amazing teachers.
Thank you. What are you working on right now that's got you really excited?
We just launched a line of natural perfume body oils. So it's a little more intense product. It has an intenser scent, and that marrying the natural perfume with a body product has been really exciting for me, because I never use it's funny, people ask me, I've always used unscented products, but I'll use essential oils like for specific reasons. Or I'll use my blends for a specific reason. But this is just fun. Like I love things that smell nice, and I'm making a body line that's just about the scent. But again, it has a medicinal side to it too. So a relaxation. I use some of my favorites like neroli in it, and now it's all over. So now I'm anointing my whole body. I'm using an oil all over my body. I never had done that before.
How can people find you and what you're doing at Urban Medicine Woman?
My website is urbanmedicinewoman.com. Social media, which is also new for me, Facebook, UMW aromatherapy, and then Instagram, umw.aromatherapy. Actually, both on social media, I do a visual blog about a blend I'm working on. So that's the best way. And then anything when you send me an info at UMW Aromatherapy, I love to hear people's stories. Or you can say, hey, this is happening in my life. This is my story. What would you recommend? So I love that too.
Do you have a call to action to share?
You are the medicine, and I'm just here to watch and make suggestions of things that I've used, and now they're a commercial blend, but it's you. It's all you.
Beautiful. Do you have a story to share about how you've seen aromatherapy impact someone, whether it's yourself or? or someone else?
Yeah, I have tons of stories. Anything from working with somebody who has issues like.
So as we come down to the end of our time together, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to share whatever is on your mind. And maybe we missed something. Maybe you feel like there's something that just you really need to get out into the world. This is your chance.
I want to get my company out into the world. I want you to try Urban Medicine Woman. I believe in this, and this was a big step for me to go commercial and to share my blends with you. So I will leave you with this, like jump in and share this journey with me. And I'm sitting right here. If you want to shoot me an email and tell me your story, I can see you. I can hear you. So jump in and try Urban Medicine Woman. Listen to my videos, and maybe there's something you connect with. I'm excited about that journey of taking it on a larger scale. So my message to you is, I hope you'll check out my line. I hope you'll check out my medicine box. Like in that process, you will find you, and you will find that you're the perfect medicine. So that's what I have to say.
Ayrin, thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
You're welcome so much.
I have enjoyed our aromatic chat so much. Like I said, I feel like we are kindred spirits. I feel very connected with you right now.
Me too. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. You are the medicine. Ayrin is right. You have everything you need already inside of you to slay this life. Your body was designed with the tools that it needs to be able to heal everything that you may find going wrong inside of it. As we move through life, we experience the full range of human emotions. We experience trauma. We experience grief. We experience joy and happiness. We experience wounds and breaks and scabs. And your body was designed to heal and handle everything that you come up against. The key is giving your body what it needs so it can do what it can do innately. When you push your needs aside or shove down who you are, your mind-body struggles to maintain balance. Sometimes, especially if you've been berating, harming, or ignoring yourself for a long time, your body needs assistance. And using some of the Urban Medicine Woman's masterful blends might be a great starting point to breathe in the healing medicine and boost your body's ability to heal itself. I want to take a moment to thank Solace Sought for this amazing review on Apple Podcast. What Melissa does really is connect to the human guest and then draws out a personal history of aromatics as well as whatever agenda the guest may or may not have. From unknown to little-known businesses to leaders of the aromatic movement, Melissa brings them all to the table. Laughter, revelation, and our common connection, aroma. Thank you so much, Solace Sought. I'm humbled by your review and honestly so thankful that the mission of the podcast is being met. Would you be open to leaving the podcast a review? Every review helps Aromatic Chat reach even more people and helps to connect people with the aromatherapist that meets their wellness needs. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Ayrin Estis of the Urban Medicine Woman. I'm so thankful that Ayrin leaned into her tragedy and allowed her gifts to emerge through that process. Aromatic Chat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching. I'm your host, Melissa, Master Transformational Coach, Registered Aromatherapist, and Certified Emotion Code Practitioner. I invite you to connect with me on the web at lemonbalmcoaching.com and Instagram at lemonbalmcoaching. I will see you next time with our next episode. Until then, peace, love, and aromatics.